It was for a diminutive bottling of fluid, but the use of Novichok, a material of the history developed as a destructive contemporary gun, continues to include enormous repercussions. The 3 human beings who affected the nervous system broker on the knob of Sergei Skripal's frontline doorway in Salisbury in March incurred terrible natural ensuing consequences, yet were stored by the examination and thoroughness of personnel at the town's clinic. Every, in various ways, has lose their homes. Sergei Skripal will never back to his peaceful road close the town center. He is now a noted person, convicted by Russia as a betrayer. Detective Story Sarge nickname Bailey, the official polluted as he studied, has had to go his household of their household, that may include traces of Novichok. But Charlie Rowley, who found the bottling of nervous system broker and thought it was fragrance, introduced it to his affiliate Sunrise Sturgis, lose who he favorite. The largest vulnerable of the Novichok victims, she polished the material on her wrists, seal her destiny. It was a destructive twist in a history how would include been difficult to trust on the pages of a spy action thriller. Rowley's public health continues to be struck by his own poison. Salisbury lose its world in a year while the poisonings dominated lifetime in the town, coercion residents to stake their gateway in the police force, later the print, the war and eventually the pure-up teams. All of that intended the historical society lose industry at a period while UK top gateway already person a struggle to pull through. Though currently, the quantity of visitors is downward 12% compared in recent year. Largest of the places polluted by the nervous system broker are now brushed up. Zizi, the Italian small restaurant wherever the Skripals had dinner, has newly opened. The plant public house, that they as well attended, is creature repaired. But Sergei Skripal's household in Christie milling machine operator way remnant boarded up and polluted, as does Charlie Rowley's building in neighboring Amesbury. Britain Winty set out the intellect that aware its previous proclamation how Russia was nearly surely over the attacks. Some nations in whom the intellect was share came playing in the UK rapidly and solidly. But intellect is not testimony. Normally it can't be published and it can't be developed in trial. So while resist terrorism police force show they had identified 2 suspects of a thorough searching of video surveillance system, it was a crucial time. There was data that could be show. Scotland Courtyard announced the lid names of the 2 Ruski agents Alexander Mishkin and Anatoly Chepiga, in September, following keeping behind the data for weeks. The expect was the men were ignorant they had been identified, and would come a nation wherever they could be detained and issued. So distant, how has not happened, and Russia is surely not transferring them above. More than rather than whatever, Salisbury was a considerable previous time in which is laid out to be a 21st kind of war, for the true. But the Ruski country-friendly print, its public print supporters, humane and automatic, and the by the government himself, include always surveyed Britain's story on the poisonings. One sample, while the Metropolitan Police Force published pictures of the 2 suspected assassins upcoming via Gatwick Airport, the Ruski government offered the pictures had been fake since timestamps offered every man had been walked downward the identical hallway one at precisely the identical time. No question. The water of true had been muddied. How amounts to successful in the new dispute? If the communication can be undermined, later so can the courier. If the courier is yours nation's world competing, how can just assist? Of year, increasing and reticent efforts to resist misinformation are an essential portion of which the UK by the government does too much. But each path, the obvious try to murder a ex-Ruski intellect official who spied versus his nation has at low leftward a sense how the Ruski country is not to be cross. Normalcy slow returns to Salisbury. The Yuletide the Justice underfunded a new outside ice skating rink to paint precious visitors, a brief go of the region wherever in March area-suited investigators collected testimony of a strange criminality. An occasion that is hardly to be neglected for generations.